Oh my god. They both got a 20.
A natural 20.
What the hell?
Oh my god.
Ever since
Okay,
ever since I started playing with you guys, I've been rolling shit.
Don't blame us.
Hey, just
I
because
think
you're
that's
luck.
karma right there. That's karma for trying to be deceitful. Roll 20 knows when you've been naughty or nice.
Yes, this
It's
was
like Santa.
It's simple. Spot lizard. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Well, the fates have decided, Varnex, you are to distinguish via verbal communication. What the fuck happened last time?
I don't bloody know. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember. I was out cold for most of it.
Ooh.
Let me
If
think.
someone else is to recap, will they get 2 lots of inspiration because they'll take it from Kirby
Why would they get 2 lots?
as a reward?
No. Oh yeah,
The only
appreciate the
I remember was, the others were fighting against the Kraken, while Varnix was out cold from a psychic attack.
They put you to bed.
I'm British. Okay. Was it this guy that killed the Kraken?
No.
I honestly can't remember exactly who. It was either that or Mozzie.
It was Mozzie.
Yeah?
Okay, it was one of them. Yeah,
It would
Mozzie
be
killed the
joint
Kraken.
effort.
It was a joint effort between what's his face and Mozzie. They killed the Kraken. Eventually made their way to the giant egg here. Was able to revive me. Varnex was clueless because he just keeps rolling ones. Carrick was able to notice the spectral gooey figures surrounding the egg and learned that they wouldn't engage us if we were hostile. Mozzie was the one that communed with the creature in the egg. After some communion, we agreed not to free it, but potentially may at another time. We collected the pentacle from the Kraken after it was slain. Now I believe we will be making our way back to the surface, seeing as breathing underwater will expire in a couple of hours.
You've got plenty of time. You've
That's legit all I can remember.
in terms of the water breathing, you've still got at least 20 hours left, so it lasts fucking ages. Yeah, with everything else, it's pretty much A to B. Killed the Kraken, talked a little bit. Creatures appeared. You guys kind of spotted them. They spotted you. Decided not to release the thing from the cage. I mean, mostly out of. Yep.
No, sorry. You continue.
It was mostly out of concern of the creatures acting out. As well, they were saying something about a series of entities: a child, king, mother, and so on and so forth. And until they come back, the child isn't to be moved. And it was a whole thing.
And the child, said to Mozzie, like, you will come back for me, right?
Yamete, Yugi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone need inspiration?
Sorry, I'm munching on pretzels. Oh, here though.
Take it if you don't want it.
Question is, do you have it?
I already have inspiration because I recapped the last time as well.
Yeah.
Hey, yoink!
Apparently Connor it is.
Woo!
Congrats on that. I bequeath upon you inspiration.
I'd rather you not queefing on me, but I thank you.
I
Brilliant.
will bequeath on you all I want.
Grim.
Because I heard you fart once and it sounded like, what?
Reference has.
is the down west.
Hydra queefed on you.
Aww.
At least you know it was female.
Mm.
Well, last I recall hearing, you guys were talking about going up and having a long rest.
Mm.
I'm assuming that's still the case.
We could stay. We figured out it lasts for 24 hours.
Good.
Breathing underwater.
Yeah,
I can't
long
remember
rest is
why we were
long
talking
rest is
about
like
staying.
8 hours.
Yeah.
No. The breathing underwater. We were first worried that we would drown, and then we figured out we could stay underwater for 24 hours.
Yeah, no, I'm saying the long rest is 8 hours, so we're fine.
But I can't remember why we wanted to stay underwater.
I think it was just to save ourselves from having to swim upwards in the torrent of those piranha-looking things, while being somewhat battered and bruised.
It felt like it was something we were waiting for. I can't remember.
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not sure about anything. I can't remember.
Okay. Well, after... Just close that for a second. It is distracting me. Well, after a little debate, is it safe to say you guys are going up top, long resting up there instead of down here, at the very least? Regardless of when that is.
To be honest, it sounds like a better idea to take a longer rest out of the water rather than in it.
Fine, but if we are, I want to carve some of the kraken.
It's been completely rotted into nothingness, so there's probably not much left.
Okay, fine, carve the kraken.
Then, if you guys are, again, are you heading up? Above the water?
I am ready to leave the water.
Heading out seems like the best idea. The only reason we came down was to retrieve the pentacle core, which we now have. So there's not really any reason for us to stay down here.
Yes.
Yeah, but we had our rest now, right?
No. Nobody had figured out for certain where they were resting. So you've not got through a rest yet.
Considering that we...
I've got full HP, so I assumed we did vote
I
for rest
also
down there.
seem to have actually done that because I
Yeah.
seem to...
Because there was some debate last time on if you guys are resting down here or above.
Well, I think we should rest here because right now those
And there's the
don't...
debate.
I think we
From what I
may
remember.
have did rest because my HP is at max and so is my key points.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So
so
we
I
all-
think we all had...
I think we rested because if I remember correctly, one person had to go and we were debating about this for ages. And then we're like, fine, we'll have a rest here. And then it was like, okay, due to the fact that people have to go, we'll just end it on the fact that you've had a long rest, and then we'll pick it up from next session.
Mm-hmm. But where did you long rest? That's the problem.
Do
Yeah.
what?
I mean, we're still here, so
Yeah.
I guess here.
Okay. Is everybody
Is
okay with that? Because having a rest here or up above does and doesn't make a difference. It just, I'd prefer to know for any certainty.
We are resting down here.
Okay.
Okay then. The long rest, of course, is an 8 hour. Is anyone having any watches or anything like that, or what's the routine?
I'd say there's 8 of us, so we all do an hour each.
Mhm.
Okay. Well then, hour to hour, regardless of what direction you guys want to go in. keeping an eye, there isn't anything that's causing you any threat. This place does give you the kind of heebie-jeebies while you're awake, because you know these creatures are just kind of, they're mostly like floating around the crystals. They never get within enough range for you guys to get a full body look at them. They're always kind of like skirting just out of vision to do some mysterious mumbo jumbo or another. You're not 100% sure, but they never seemingly do anything to cause you any harm. They're just lurking more than anything, keeping an eye on you and the egg. There's only a few minor oddities. Firstly, during the 8-hour period, each of the pentacles, they shift and slide as to react to the thought patterns of each of these creatures, as they seem to be communicating to each other across the room. It's small things mostly. It's more along the lines of the caretakers seemingly telling the child of what you guys' intentions seem to be, which is to release it someday, and they kind of talk back and forth about stuff like that. The child mostly asking them why they don't just let it be free then. They reiterate the same thing they say to you, saying that it's not their place. They are here to take care of the child until a parent figure can come along and take them away, and so on and so forth. In other cases, it asks them questions about the outside world. They tell it as much as they themselves are aware of, being also creatures that have lived down here for God knows how long. The two other things that happen is Sol and seemingly Halfir, during your individual rests, will experience odd dreams. In your dream, it's more like it's kind of like a vision or an experience that you feel more than anything else of what looks to be a vast darkness of space, literal space, not an open area of space, with small spatterings of lights across everything, across the universe. And you see a series of elongated, you could consider them snake-like creatures, but they have what look to be like scalage of a more like carapace nature. They have these large maws that can open wide, and wide enough to look like they devour a moon. They move in packs, floating across existence together. Looking around, everything feels kind of empty. It feels like there's not really much else, and it gives you this sense of longing, of loneliness in a weird way. Those creatures float across the expanse, and your vision seems drawn by them, and as they float, you see a noticeable decay across their scalage. A couple of the creatures over time just stop moving across the skies. They seem to decay and fade away until eventually there's only what looks to be 6 left. And as they cross the distance, eventually they come across this large, what looks to be kind of like a teleportation gateway of some kind. A series of winding rainbow sprites of colours that form a large circular opening that doesn't reveal where it goes to. But it's the only thing that these creatures seem to have experienced in centuries besides each other. They, of course, they pass through, and as they pass through, the vision seems to break at that point. And then as your eyes flicker open, in your hand is one of the pentacles on your possession, your original pentacle. And as you look down at it, you see the last word it's locked on is freedom. And then, as you kind of like do whatever you need to comfortably sit up and look around, you take over for your watch. You look over toward Halfir, and You see his hand is currently in his backpack. He's lying down with full intention of sleeping, but his arm, almost like on just an instinct, has gone into his bag. And as you kind of like tilt your head over a little bit, you can see that the pentacle is half pulled out, and you can kind of glimpse half of a word. It seems to be imprison. You take it. The word you see on his pentacle seems to be imprison, but you can only see half of it, so you assume it means imprisonment. But yeah, that's really all about that happens during everybody's long rest. After that, you all wake up. They're still kind of lurking around the place. The creature inside the shell seems to be just swimming around, and as you all kind of start getting rose to attention, the creature moves a bit closer to the egg, looks over at each of you with curiosity. What do you guys do? You will have, of course, had your long rest. Anybody?
Should we go back now?
Breakfast. I will catch a fish.
Don't
For
think
so
there's any
God
fish
help
swimming
me.
around the ship, mate.
I will find a fish.
Maybe we can find a fish on our way back up.
This awaits but no one. Hungry.
Make a perception check.
I will perception. I'm blind. There it is.
I mean, you can make out the appearance of a small thing moving very, very blurrily at the entrance of the cave. It's almost like a dot, and as you're looking at it, and by the entrance of the cave, I don't mean the bottom of the map. I mean further beyond at the actual opening to this area. You can see some kind of small blur moving along.
Let us go, friends. Food is to be had.
What are you guys doing?
I'm gonna
Oh,
wave
thank
goodbye to the thingy and go.
Did you
Agreed.
Did you do that? It waves to you two very slowly.
Goodbye, weird thingy.
Waves to you two.
I'm making our way towards the entrance.
I'll wave at these guys too.
Assuming that there's no secret and quicker exit.
Not that anyone's made you aware of. As you all head back toward the entrance and look around, notice as your eyes are like quickly scanning the large blacker body of water, you have to like really peel your eyes, and as you do, you then come to realize that this place is still very inky black, but it is clearing slowly, which is good. And you kind of catch a glimpse of something in the corner of your eye, and you quickly like snap toward it, and as you look, you can see this small seashell on the bed of the water. As you look over, kind of swim toward it, pick it up. As you pick it up, you see tiny little crab legs and crab claws suddenly unroll themselves from underneath the shell, and it starts to kick its little legs around, trying to free itself, snaps its pinches.
I am wildly intrigued by this weird creature. But alas, I'm hungry. Nom.
Do you
No hesitation.
do you try to straight up just take a bite out of it?
Yes.
Make a strength check.
Alrighty. Yo, does this count? Can I make a dex check
No.
instead?
One time I'll say no.
Hey.
Well, it's a check.
Oh.
Is there a difference between your save and your check?
Oh, sorry. I clicked on the wrong thing.
Okay, so it would have been. Well, that's fair enough. So
Just made it better.
as you pick it up, you see it's like pincers are trying to like pinch at your back, pinch towards your hands, and you just quickly like push it towards your mouth and just take a large bite out of a couple of its legs and where its abdomen would be, and the thing's like pinching in the air out of frustration really heavily, and then it just seems to stop. And maybe it's because you're technically inhaling air right now as well. The taste is mostly dulled. It tastes like crab, like actual how crab would be, just not very well seasoned.
A crab.
Does Nadissa know what seasoning is?
No, but I'm assuming Stefan does. So
It's autumn and fall and winter and summer. Those are the seasons.
Terrible.
A
Yeah.
pinch of autumn, dash of winter.
Alright, I am sated.
And as you finish off the like chunks of it, can I just like toss the seashell aside if you want, or do you keep it?
No, I keep it.
Okay. Then you kind of just like, quickly put it away, scraping off the last like crusted bits of the poor crustacean, and each of you kind of look out in the murky waters, which before looked incredibly black, and you could barely see 5 feet around yourselves without the help of the pentacles. It's still mostly the case, but at least now when you look out, you can kind of make out as if it's a small sheet in the way, rather than someone's dropped an entire blanket in front of your eyes of blackness. You could make out each other from 5 feet, maybe 10. But at the very least, you know, all you really have to do is swim straight up.
Just keep swimming.
Is there anything else you guys want to do while you're here, or you just go straight up?
Might try and swim slightly stealthily if possible.
Sure. Make stuff check if you want. Is anyone else joining him in that?
Oh, the always high stealth rolls of heavy armor.
Where other people clink and clank, you. Is anyone else stealth swimming?
Stealth swimming.
Stealth swimming, high octane action.
Yellow, certain green.
Sure. Why not?
That sounds like a cool thing to do. Don't know how you do it, but I'll certainly try. Guess I'll actually just imitate them if they swim funny.
So some of them are kind of like doing brushstrokes upwards, and you're kind of like with your dex and your weird natural affinity to the water right now. You're kind of like kicking your legs downwards, pushing yourself upwards, and like with the amount of speed that you could catch with not being seen, you go above them at one point, look down toward them all, hands behind your head, just looking down at them all, just using your legs to kick forward, barely making bubbles, and you swim circles and up, down, loop-de-loops, and yeah. Somehow you're making stride without making...
Progress.
No, just absolutely making progress. Just not showing any visible signs that you're actually there. Surprisingly.
Like a ninja.
like a swimming ninja. Um, but yeah, you all eventually get back to the point where you saw those rings of quippers, and you see now they've spread out over a long distance. And since the water's inkiness has thinned a little bit, they seem to be spreading out a lot further. There's still a few like 2s and 3s together, but in a roughly like 100 foot, you've got maybe a total of 12 of them across that expanse. And moving along, they seem to avoid you for the most part, unless you get in range of a minimum of 4 or 5 of them, which is a difficulty in its own. And by the time you even do get into that kind of range and they start coming toward you, you've already moved way up above the ring of water that they inhabit. And yeah, eventually you see a shine of some small amounts of light from above as you swim to the surface. And as you break the water's surface and look around, depending on if anyone actually wants to do anything in the cave again, I will probably not show you the map again. Might not be necessary unless you want to be. But as you break the water's surface and look around, still pitch black. Those of you who can't normally see in dark vision, without dark vision, can still not see anything. There is a couple of small, gentle lights that are on the roof that illuminate the roof slightly, but beyond that, this place is still pitch black. You can, those of you without dark vision can vaguely make out shapes, but beyond that, it's blackness. For the rest of you, however, even within the radius combined, you can see that there's no one here. A lot of the eggs that were perched along the walls, that were being slowly one by one picked and put into nets, a majority of them have been saved and taken away. There are still 1s and 2s that are cracked or that are too small that maybe have no chance of hatching, or they just couldn't risk taking extra. But for the most part, it seems like the Sahagin that lived here have gone, and they've moved on.
Hold on.
Yep.
I have a thing that's written in my notes. Bring back a pearl from the Sahagin.
Mm-hmm.
Can we look for anything?
You
like
can,
that?
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna. I don't exactly remember why.
I believe, don't quote me, but I believe it's for the alchemist vendor, the alchemy vendor.
Right. Either her or no. She said a few things. Hold on. I have a note for that. Rough sketches of potion ingredient. Troll, toenail, kidney, bladder, eyeballs, dart, tiger, hammer, tail, quillbeak, owl, bear, griffin, everything. No, so it's not for that. I think it's for the camp. Could it be for the camp? You know the thing with the that we almost had a fight on the dinosaur.
For some reason I don't have. I don't have. What's with my goddamn
The
notes?
Theron expedition, because I have it right next to the name of the leader.
Hold on, I'm you looking at your Mosey's notes?
Yes.
Um. Hmm. I'm just trying to find my notes for, like, genuinely,
Nani?
my notes for the alchemy vendor, because I had written down specifically what
No,
she would require, because I'm pretty sure it would have been something for her, but
I have it here. I'm gonna paste it in chat.
mhm. Hmm. Okay, I'm not too sure then. Um.
Oh wait, we could have got some stuff from the plesiosaurus. Never mind.
Yep.
Nah.
That thing did
Fuck.
disappear into the water,
Mm.
so you could go
I'm
chase
sure
it.
I'm going to meet it again someday.
Yeah, maybe. Um. Yeah, I am really fucking struggling because I don't even have the handout for what she would want from beasts anymore for the vendor. But at the same time, I can't think of who else it would be for. But either way, if you want to look for a pearl, more than fine. Worst case, you have a pearl.
Yeah, so I'm gonna look for pearl.
Okay. If anyone's helping you, you can make a investigation check or a perception check. Anyone can join in if they are helping him.
Will you tell
Okay,
us that you
okay.
want to find a pearl?
Yes, I will.
Then I will help you.
Great.
So,
Can you roll and say that? Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
I'm helping Nadissa.
No, I'm helping you.
Yeah, but your perception is higher.
Fair enough.
Okay. So, firstly, is outside of Nidissa and Sol, is anyone else doing anything? Just while you two do search.
I'll help look as well.
Secondly, somebody has to tell me what a pearl is. I grew up in a forest. I don't know what the ocean is. I don't know what I just ate.
I think that would just be a mixture of me and, well, Carrick and Sol explaining what a pearl is.
Oh, it's really gonna bother me in her bestiary thing. Not like anyway. So while you guys are doing that and having a search, Brick is going to kind of just sit down for a minute, just look around, observe the pool and the missing Sahagin, and with everything going on, and this entire time he's mostly just gone along with all of this because it's a journey. Nobody has treated him like shit, and he can actually contribute to something. But not being able to communicate stuff like this, there's an evident look on his face, and he does a kind of deep sigh. But just kind of continues to look around, seeing Nadissa and Sol and Carrick all kind of like looking around, looking in amongst all of the little the eggs that still remain for the pearl, and Halfir currently stood looking down into the water on the little cliff face above. Just like looks around the room, his eyes kind of scanning, picks out the pentacle, kind of looks it over, and he holds it up, looks at it, starts to like slide it around a little bit, trying to get something new. As you three are wandering, it'll take you a good like 10-15 minutes, even looking through some of the tunnels. Since they've cleared this place pretty well, it's not like you're not going to find one, but it will be a course of time. And as you guys are looking, Varnix, as you're sat with Halfir and Brick, is there anything you want to do in particular?
Nothing's really coming to mind.
Okay.
I don't see any point in us staying down here until we get to the surface and continue on. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I guess I just watch the others as they try and search for pearls and various trinkets.
Roll a D100 for me real quick. So as they're exploring tunnels, you can kind of hear them chattering in the distance, like, check that egg clutch, or is that something on the roof there? And they're just kind of like walking. There's no real intent to stealth. Everything that you've had problematically here has been cleared or made peace with in some extent. As you're looking around, you see assortments of little like critters, little spiders, just like skittering along the wall, and you see a couple of little like slugs and the like crawl into these little nooks underneath what's essentially like a shelf of stone, and they make a little dark nest underneath it. And at one point they walk ahead of you as you're kind of just following along. Eventually you cross a turning, and for a moment there's this weird sensation that runs over the back of your head, similar to when you were being knocked unconscious by those creatures. And you kind of close your eyes for a second, grab your head, and there's this slight sting. Your eyes close and you stop. Just take a minute, take a gentle breath. Use that which you've learned in your monastic times. And then you hear them in the distance, still talking away, and you've got a good idea of where they are. You kind of like rub your head a little, you open your right eye, and in the corner of your eye you look down into the distance, down the corridor to your right. The others directly ahead. As you look in the right, you see what looks to be this small, what looks to be like a damp, dirtied, but somehow eye-catching small, not exactly a gem, but it's round, and there's this slight shimmer from the one small speck of the colour, the beauty that emanates from it that isn't shit covered. You kind of walk over, slightly curious. You look around just in case there is any kind of traps or anything of the like. You remain wary, but with a few gentle steps you kind of flick a stone over toward where it is. You knock this small like layer of almost like ooze that seems to attach to it, and it very quickly crumbles. This little circle of whatever it is, this pearl, you could call it, rolls along the ground toward you. And just kind of like lean down to it, poke it at first, and then pick it up. Kind of like remove a layer of the dirt. It feels very sturdy, like a gem. It feels almost weirdly also very fragile. And as you look at it, you completely clean it off. As it rolls about in your hand very gently until it meets the center of your palm, there's a weird familiarity about it. Make a history check.
I rolled double digits.
Yay! As you look at it, it's this kind of dark blue pearl of some kind. It doesn't. I mean, you don't really even know what they're after, but it could be what they're after anyway. But looking at it, something about it seems familiar, and you can't quite puzzle where from. What do you want to do?
I'll probably just whistle to the others, like, to get their attention and hold up the pearl-like object and go, guys, is this what you're looking for?
As you say that, as the three of them start to walk around the corner, out of obviously your calling, as well as you notice in Nadissa's hand she has a small pinky white pearl, and there's this slight kind of blue hue that glows off of it when attracted by light. You guys have the floor?
Ooh. Is this what we're looking for? This looks like it's what we're looking for.
This doesn't know. Nadissa likes it.
So,
I mean, would this be what we're looking for?
in terms of the ones you guys found, pinky white kind of color, but with a blue hue with light. I mean, you found it here. It could be. Seeing Varnix with another one, however, it's kind of hard to say, really. I'd say make a general intelligence check.
Okay. Not supposed to be good at those.
Yep. You have no idea where you are, so who knows?
Let's just take it. We'll see.
So as you collect that together, is there anything else anyone would like to do?
Not really.
Nah.
No.
Okay. Then are you guys leaving the premises?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then just write down the thing real quick. Okay, so as you return to the entrance of what appears to be a Sahagan's den no more, you see the staircase leading up the tower, surrounded by water, still there. The body of water itself, the roof of which has remained above head level. You guys start walking up the steps. As you do, the tower still seems to be in effect. Nothing has changed that, surprisingly. As you guys are walking up, hold on, my brain has really fucked up the names. Give me a sec. Where are you, goddammit? Lilith, there we go. Fuck me, that was going to be a nightmare. Lilith, walking as middle of the group as she can, kind of looks over to you, Varnix, and says, so tell me, what is that pearl that you found earlier? Have you, can I have a look?
I don't know what the fuck this is. Yeah, go nuts.
As she takes it, she goes, thank you. And as you guys walk up the steps, she's holding onto it in the dead center of her hand, two fingers from her left hand touching the top of it, and she's just gently humming a low tone quietly to herself as she's casting Identify on it. And as you guys are walking up the steps, eventually getting to the roof, the water draping down from the orb floating up above, down along the sides of the tower still. She pulls her fingers away and goes, "That is not what I expected it to be, but..." Passes the pearl back to you. I feel like you were talking about it when we were last together, so it might be important to you. That it apparently belongs to someone called Gilgamesh?
The orb? I mean, sorry, the pearl.
Yes. I can't get much out of it besides it has small amounts of magical power that can, well, not really contain spells or anything, but it's sort of like, it gave me the feeling of it wasn't whole. There's something it's missing.
Lawrence would probably just look at Lilith in confusion and awe, and back to the orb. Sorry, the pearl. And we'll just pocket it, make a mental note of its importance in the future.
She kind of nods. Well, I might not be able to always be around to help identify these things, but if you ever manage to find whatever it is that it goes with, come find me. I can analyze it for you.
Thank you, Lilith. I hope we do encounter each other again in the future.
Well, we still have to go back to your base and tell them what we found, but after that, I'm pretty sure I'm going back to Custodon. But
Although, if you are still interested,
Hmm.
we do know of another tower quite close to where we are.
Ooh.
And we have gone through another primordial gate as well. If you ever want to stick around and learn more about them.
Well, I am very curious, and as long as somebody promises to look after me, I will help you on your endeavors somewhat, but I'm more of a researcher these days. I haven't had my hands dirty in a little while.
How's your family? Your father and your siblings?
They are okay. They are all over the place as usual. I'm surprised I haven't run into one of my siblings here yet. My father says hi, by the way.
Tell him I said hi back. Speaking of your family, do any of them know anything more about these primordial gates? Have they told you anything?
Well, I've heard of them in passing before, but beyond speculation, it is mostly just that they're sort of like a folk tale. Up until recently, there was only really one of them that any of my family knew about, which I think would be the one by your base, which I cannot wait to research. It is going to be very interesting. But beyond that, they were always considered just a rumor. So I look forward to finding out the answers to these questions.
If memory serves, the gate by the base is linked to the element of water, and I believe there was a member on our camp who actually did venture through the gate. Her name, I believe, was Katrina? Lee, was that her name?
Yes.
Alright, good, because I'm flicking through my notes and I can't find the right page.
I should like to talk to this Katrina.
Something tells me you two may get along. Potentially.
She kind of nods and she has her notebook out and starts writing down some details. Then closes it, puts her stuff away. Well, I think that we have a long road ahead of us. So, does anybody know any folk tunes? Or shall we go in silence and be ever scared of the present sunshine?
You know I'm not going to use the person.
Scary?
What was that stuff?
Is sunshine scary?
It is to my kind. As much as I wish to try to find a remedy for that, the sun is rather pasty to my complexion.
Complexion.
To my skin.
Now you're just making up words.
Skin is a word.
Complexion. That's not a word.
You're intriguing. Would you like
No.
to donate a sample of blood?
I am the dissa.
Would you like to donate a sample of your blood?
I kind of snarl at her.
I don't
No.
know if that... Okay. I just had to check. But if you ever wish to, I can give you something in return. It is partially up to your choice if you want something specific. But I will never take unless you specifically say it is okay.
What do you want in this as blood?
Because Netissa is very curious to Lilith. I wish to know what your deal is.
Garrick very
My-
swiftly walks up behind and it picks Nadissa up by the scruff of the neck, continues walking and looks at her and just says, "It's not very polite to be snarling at guests travelling with us, mate."
Hey, let Nadissa go!
The entire time as you're like
Not too
carrying her
bad.
the 5 feet away from Lilith with this small space you've all got to share, you're just getting these little like, not intentionally, but like needle pricks into your wrist as you're pulling Nadissa away.
I sort of sort of look to Lilith and just says, "Yeah, this one's not really accustomed to social conversation as much. Is extremely curious and, well, doesn't really know much dialect when it comes to common."
Well, I don't believe that is much of a problem. She appears to be functional, which is
She just appears to be feisty and entertain that anymore, and she'll think she can get away with it, which she can't, because being rude to people is not nice.
This is not rude. Hat lady wants her blood.
and
But you just say no, thank you. You don't snarl.
in fairness, I am used to slightly more aggressive no's.
Well, you are a travelling companion, so to a degree, we got to keep up some sort of niceries, haven't we?
She kind of shrugs.
At this point, Garrett will just sort of like put Nadissa back down and sort of like shake his wrist and sort of like oof.
Retreat away, like behind behind somebody else, like Soul or something. I'll just like hiss again at both of them.
And I'll sort of like turn around and give Nadissa a very, very slight side eye and a bit of malice behind it, saying, sort of like as a warning, going like, "Don't you hiss at me."
Stick my tongue And I run up front.
So as you yeah, you see as Sol and Halfir both raise a respective pentacle. The ramp from the other side appears again, moves forward, allows passage across. You guys cross over. And again, as the cores are raised again when the platform retracts, as you then head forward onto the other side over the large chasm, the platform moves toward the other end there. You guys still have the barely 5 to 10 foot space you have to jump between, but for the sake of simplicity, you'll meet that gap, no problem. Platform retracts back, and as you look over towards where the tower currently resides, the platform retracting slowly in toward you. Yeah, you can pretty much say goodbye to the tower now. As you do kind of look around for a second, in around you see tracks of where the Sahagin have moved off. It seems they've moved further south toward the coast, possibly in search of another half-decent cavern. Not too sure. What do you guys want to do? Are you returning back to camp?
Intending to, I'd say, unless we have. What is it? One sec.
We technically all have had a long rest, so we, if possible, we could maybe venture a bit further along for the towers or the primordial gates.
Well, the only other one you were informed of before you left was an earth tower at the top.
Yeah, there's that as an option, but at the same time, a part of me feels that it might be slightly more pressing to be able to get back to the camp and just update everyone about what's happened. And you never know, there might have something happened back at base as well. Unless people are desperate to get to the Earth Tower to try and explore that.
Yeah, we could head back to the base camp.
Yeah, let's do one thing at a time.
Then, let me just calculate a few things real quick. So as you begin to walk back, it'll take a couple of days. I won't specify just yet how many, just in case any encounters or otherwise happen between. Moving through the abundant forests, you find there's a strangely more vibrant and lively wildlife at the moment. Assortments of insects crawling around in the lush grass that has grown. As you guys are passing through, you see the mountainsides fraught with dinosaurs chasing other dinosaurs, and barely any like smaller animals that are more on the herbivore side of things are being very much hunted. You see one goat at one point for all of about 10 seconds before you see a giant claw just mangle the thing by a giant T-Rex as it just claws into it, picks it up, one giant bite, and its massive maw. And then you see its head kind of swing toward you guys' direction for a second, and then you realise it seems to have like really shit vision, and it can't exactly seem to see you as you guys stand still underneath this brush. and then it just kind of slowly stomps away. Passing through first day and a half, give or take. Can someone roll me a d10?
Okay.
Okay. Just checking a thing. If I can find it. There it is. Okay, so over the rest of the second day and the first and a half day, it's mostly cloudy in the skies. There's nothing really hindering your movement, so it will be considered 2.5 days journey as opposed to, by that I mean you have the equivalent of 2.5 days journey over the course of 2 days. Moving along, avoiding any real conflicts. Reduce you guys' rations by 2. And if someone does need to hunt or needs food from other players, let me know.
I must hunt.
Okay. In your case, roll me a survival or nature check.
You will
I'd
get
like to have a
this
go at
done.
hunting as well.
Okay, same thing, survival or nature.
Alright. Can I roll double digits? No.
No.
Why are you so cursed?
You used your double digit already today.
Okay, so subtracting from others. Does he not have any? That would be.
Odessa eats meat. I eat bugs.
I mean, I did eat a plant too. I was screaming or something. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, the amount of weird shit you eat. I mean. Okay. So Nithissa, you managed to find yourself a deer, capture it, and if you want to, slaughter the living hell out of it.
Yes.
Okay. From it, you will feed yourself for the 2 days and have 3 days extra rations. So add
Oh,
3
wow.
rations.
Oh, cool. Epic.
And because the idea has now been put out into the ethos, yes, Farnex, you find some juicy bugs. It is enough to sustain
Yum,
you.
delicious and
It's enough to sustain you over the course of the days, but not enough to fill you. So
Yay.
they are juicy, and it is kind of disgusting that you have to eat them. But I mean, you've managed to eat, so.
You need rations? I can give you some if you want.
I'll offer you some meat too.
Okay. To be honest, I think we went in different directions. When you say juicy bugs, I imagine those old like sweets,
Yes.
like
I
gummy bugs.
know, it was so good.
Yeah. That's basically what I imagine Farnex found.
Yes.
British people start talking about British things again.
Cup of tea, long live the king.
I remember when Freddos were 10 pence.
Oh my god, that was a long time
I
ago.
know!
Oh,
When a
what the
what?
fuck is it you're talking
I
about?
remember when
Look-
Freddos were like 5 pence, mate.
Put it this way,
Oh my god, 10-pence sweets. Do 10-pence
Freddos-
sweets still exist?
no, Freddos
No.
are an example of inflation over the years. They were a sweet that is like, they're a chocolate that isn't that big. It's enough
Like a
for
pink
2
finger-sized
mouthfuls.
chocolate.
2 small mouthfuls. They were 10 pence when I was like fucking 10, which was,
They look
for
like
context, 19 years ago. And they are now like 20 to 35 pence as opposed to 10.
I remember when they were 5.
The fucking even worse.
Not like
You remember they were 10 because you lived in London. And
Yes.
Everything in London's pricey as shit.
Hey, excuse me, I could give good examples as to beers in pubs that cost less than they do up here.
And-
Inflation, shit, stuff, you know.
Dude,
Like,
that
go
sounds
back
so
10
cheap.
later.
Yeah, they were 10 pence back in like Garstang, like years and years ago.
Mm.
God damn, I
Guy-
things.
I can't buy anything for that.
Yes.
No one can buy anything for
Yeah.
that
It
these
just-
days.
It used to be so cheap. You could buy a lifetime's worth with the amount of money you get these days. But anyway, we'll be depressed and annoyed about that some other time. We got D&D because oh my god.
You know, Connor. Wait, sorry, 2 seconds. You know, Connor, I got really pissed at Chris because he was like complaining about the price of milk, right? And then he tells me what the price of milk is, and then I tell him, that's just our normal price of milk. What do you mean?
How much is the price of milk?
It's like
It's like £1.70
£1.50
here, I think,
1.5
for a pint.
for a pint of.
I don't know how much a pint is.
A bit less than half a liter. You said
What the hell?
1.5 pound.
Yeah, what?
I wish it would cost that for milk. Holy fuck! It costs like twice as that here.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's
Jeez,
some
that's
fancy as milk.
cheap.
I mean, to be fair, we've got a lot of farms.
So do we. We just have taxes.
Everything's expensive.
At someone else's expense.
Yes. But yeah. So you'll discuss the increased inflation on items across the world. In character, obviously. And yeah. You then spend another couple of days walking. Can someone give me a D10 and someone else give me a D12? And if you couldn't guess, this is weather and event based. Don't everybody jump at the D10 at once. You don't want to end up.
I'm not rolling.
causing-
I can't roll double digits.
I've already done it.
It's a D10 though.
I'm basically the Will Wheaton of this group.
Dice curse. Connor, you have been nominated. Roll a D10.
I'll be right back.
I'm not hearing any confirmations, Connor. You bitch. Ugh, fine, I'll do it, God.
No, I'll do it.
I'll roll a d12.
I roll
Double two.
Let's see if I can roll higher than a 2.
No,
we accept
you
that?
should have no, it's too fucking late now.
No, you were too fast.
Stefan has
Okay.
already rolled, I'll have you know.
Oh, Stefan, I thought it was you that rolled.
Um,
I can roll high so long as it doesn't count. That's good to know. Thank you, Karma.
you just start
thank you.
spamming rolls.
I'm gonna roll a d20 for no reason at all, just to see what I get.
Natural 20. Close. Fucking close. Well, next, give me a...
If Karma was a person, I'd punch him in the face.
give me a history check.
What, me?
Yes.
History to see if I can roll double digits, alright? No.
I mean, the same number at least. Consistent. What the fuck are you so cursed?
I blame all of you.
Hey, I didn't do shit. I just run the
I
game.
can't roll double digits.
At least technically they're still both
Lee, what have you done to me?
not a thing.
You did something.
I wish I had any degree of control over these dice rolls because I could make it so interesting.
Oh, fuck off.
And there's your 20. Completely wasted.
I'm back. From what I hear, it's going to be discussed.
Yes.
And why are people trying to talk to me when I said I'm going to BRB?
Because I didn't fucking hear you say it, motherfucker.
Well, I definitely said it.
But yeah, for the dice rolls. With the D10, Your 2 days journey is reduced to a day and a half, thanks to rain and mud, and trying to move through fields while everything is either trying to hide in little hidey holes, or your damp clothes are dragging you down, or climbing is a difficulty because everything you try to grab hold of is falling apart. And yeah, can I have 2 more days of rations, please?
2 more days of rations.
Nom. Nom.
What'd you call me?
Is everybody here just to double check?
I am.
Anybody did a what now?
Just make sure everyone was here.
Yeah.
And have you taken off 2 rations
Yes, I did.
for the new 2 days?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure we are.
So 4 in total. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
um. Just making sure everybody has their bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces. Should I add a pearl to my inventory?
Recent
No.
pieces.
Okay, good.
Bits and pieces. So over the course of the 2 days, which becomes a day and a half due to rough terrain, you're all mostly having to find places to cover your heads with the excess rain pouring down from above. A lot of it is spent around a fire, trying to keep to some degree warm. The only thing that really happens, eventfully speaking, is at some point in the night, whoever is on the watch on the first day. Sorry, I'm really burpy all of a sudden as well. The night of the first day, whomsoever is on the watch, the first person to be on the watch will notice a single baby goat come walking in to whatever cave or overpass that you manage to find yourselves in while everybody rests, and it shiveringly just perches itself down as close to the fire as it can be without being directly on top of somebody, and it just kind of rests there. Brick takes a small shine to it, kind of offers it a seat on his lap, and with his very much hairy body, kind of gives it a degree of extra warmth. And most of you will wake up in the morning to see Brick, a tiny baby goat, clutched very lightly in his arms, and both of them very much conked out. And you, as you're all about to leave, you see Brick carry it along with him for a little bit, until eventually you all see a mother goat stomping around with a couple of other little baby goats, and the one in Brick's arms kind of just gives him a little lick on the face, and he knows he has to let go, but there's this little moment where he's just looking over at the mother, and he's looking at the babe in his hands, and he really doesn't want to, and there's a little tear, and he kind of puts it on the ground as it very quickly trots over toward the mother. And as the babe walks over toward the mother and they reunite, and the mother looks over towards Brick, who's currently waving very slowly with tears rolling across his face. As they wander off, you guys continue walking for the rest of that day. And when you come around to your next rest, when it comes to Brick's turn, you guys don't learn of it until the rests are fully over and you're ready for what would now be, in the timeline, the current day. The mother goat revisited and had dropped off a series of small herbs, and Brick picks them up, kind of like puts them away. Halfir lets you all know that the herbs that the goat left for Brick can be used in medicines.
Hmm.
So, I have put it in his inventory. He has 3 such medicinal herbs. We'll do a little bit of a longer journey now. Can somebody give me another D10 as you guys will spend the next 5, maybe more days, depending on how much time you have to pick up. 5 days moving toward the forward base. Nice. Can someone give me a D12?
Go. It's your time, Morning. Go. You can shine.
What was it, D12?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Drum roll, please. Can I roll double digits?
Hold on. Don't we have it?
No.
Ah, wait, this.
Oh, yeah, that. I forgot that.
Yeah, that's
existed.
cool. Thank you. You ruined that.
It's a trap!
You got a 9?
Shut up.
Well, if it helps to know, the rolls on these are not based on highest is best, lowest is worst, or anything like that. It is randomized to fuck what happens. So in the event of Mosey, the next 5 days are a mixture of sunny and clear skies. You each even have enough time to enjoy the scenery at some point as you're walking, as the muddied grounds have solidified back to normality. The rain has dappled the earth and allowed a more gentler growth of the leafage in the trees. And what would have been 5 days, well, it is technically, whatever. The journey is 4 days to the forward base as opposed to 5 days. The only real event you have between those days is, as you guys are walking along one of the days, there is a series of trees that seem to be kind of like melded together near the root that bow as they grow taller and taller, and a small oasis of some kind. The water itself, with the recent rain, seems to have refilled this what's barely a 10-foot space where the water resides. The water has overflowed somewhat, but it's more so just dripped onto the grass beside it. As you guys kind of look over it with the consistent sun shining, the water has taken on a weirdly heated effect, and with a single finger inside of it or a toe, it's warm enough for you guys to have a nice kind of like, it's sort of like a lacking in bubbles jacuzzi. It's that kind of comfort warm. But more so than that, there's this what looks to be like literal X of chalk that's been printed along the ground about 20 feet away from it, that's covered left, right and behind by tall dark grass. There is a literal X marks the spot in white chalk that the rain seems to not have managed to dapple down. What do you guys want to do? X marks the spot, jacuzzi, both?
Let's do both.
Yeah, sure.
So, first and foremost, as you guys set some things down and kind of get ready to rest to a degree. And again, this would have been in between the 4 days. As you set some things down and you guys kind of look around for a second, and you all very easily notice the X. You guys kind of look over each other for a second. Who's going to be the first person to go over there, or do you go as a group?
I'll go.
Okay. Make an investigation check or a perception check.
Investigation. Let's do this.
Oh,
Ooh.
bitch. So as you start to walk over, just past a good 5 foot from the jacuzzi itself, you kind of look around. There are a series of tall standing trees that act as a kind of umbrella for this area to take any water that rains down on it and slip either down itself or over the area that it resides. The jacuzzi, the pool itself, is the only place that has no protection above. But as you're walking over, you kind of look around and you see this very thin, nigh invisible line leading from one blade of grass beyond another series of grass to your left that seems to link up toward a tree. And as you're kind of looking over, it's 10 feet away from where the X is. You can mark maybe 2 more lines, one diagonally from the tree that's overhanging to its left, that leads somewhere a little to the right of where the bushes are, hanging over the X, and another one that's hanging directly from a tree behind the X. All the way down in front of the X, another line of wire or rope. This place is booby trap, baby.
Okay, I'm gonna tell everyone that this is booby trapped. Should we keep pursuing, or do we just go nah?
Let's just go back to base. I'm tired of games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Is anyone going to enjoy what I'm calling a jacuzzi, but it is basically just heated water?
No.
You bet. And I will splash the water.
So as everyone else is looking around towards the kind of booby-trapped area with the evident X marks the spot, you guys hear just the splashing of water as Nidissa, who I'm guessing technically speaking is constantly naked.
I mean, she's not wearing clothing,
Hmm.
if that's what you're...
Yes.
Yes.
Has already jumped into the water and it's just splashing around, and it's that kind of you're warm in that kind of I am sat by a fire with comfort clothes on kind of warm, because there is the gentle sun gleaming up above as well. That's giving you a nice feeling along your back, and it's just really nice. A couple of days of walking and then fighting things and then all these weirdos talking about things you've never heard of, and you have this one moment where you can just kind of fuck it, splash some water, enjoy some heat, let your bones kind of rest. As everyone else kind of maneuvers to leave, what do you do, Nidissa?
I guess I sigh and I follow them.
Brick walks over and passes you a small, what looks to be like a vial with water inside, and he kind of like gently taps your shoulder with it first, and you can kind of feel the slight warmth coming from inside the vial, and he just holds it to you.
I stare at him for like a good solid 5 seconds, and then I grab it.
Okay.
Do I drink it?
He just kind of stares and blinks, and then just turns around, points toward the water, and then he points toward the vial.
No, I don't understand.
He looks at you with a face that says the same.
Thank you. I just say and I walk away.
So as you all wander forth a little further, you notice in the distance the crater above ground where the charger triceratops, there we go, had made its nest, and where you know the Theron base is. You guys are maybe like a 10-minute walk toward it. Do you guys want to go? Or do you go straight back? Everybody else?
I didn't catch any of that.
You guys are 10 minutes away from the Theron forward base. Does anyone want to go there while you're nearby?
Yes.
Everybody else?
Yeah, sure. Let's go. If we're already there, then might as well.
Linux?
Yeah, let's continue.
No. Do you want to go to the forward base, or do you want to go straight back to the village?
I'll go where the party decides to go, seeing as my dice rolls will likely doom us all.
I mean, to be fair, this doesn't really require dice rolls. It's more just what Linux
wait.
would prefer.
Sorry, I misunderstood. I want to go to the village. I don't want to go to the mean lady.
Barnex is feeling a little emasculated, seeing as his decisions and abilities have been a little less than useful.
On the side, real quick, everybody reduce your rations by 4. If you don't have enough, give me an nature or survival check.
Yes.
Is this a total of 4 or by another 4?
4 for the journey that you just had, so not another 4.
Ah,
Yeah, I've already done that.
Oh, you're fine.
I've got 3 rations left, so what do I do?
A survival or nature check. You'll.
Okay.
The DC will be very low, 'cause you only need to sustain yourself for 1 day. But if you do get a decent roll, it will sustain you for further days.
wait. So
Okay.
in total 6.
Okay, I'll roll survival since I've got 3 in there.
Most,
Drum roll, everybody. Can I
mm,
roll double digits? Double digits! That's a win.
Mosey, did you roll for the 2 days with the goat?
Yes.
Not roll, sorry,
You said like 2 and then another 2. I did those.
Yeah.
And then another 4.
Yeah,
Top of
the
that?
other 4 is for the last 4 days that got you to the Theron forward base.
I see. So yeah, that it's gonna leave me at a 1 day of ration.
Nice.
Just enough.
Just enough. So Varnick, Stefan. Connor, you said you were fine?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I've got like 8 days left.
Mosey,
Mm.
have you subtracted 4 now?
Yes.
What do you have left?
1.
Does anybody want to hunt for more food?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Well, I do.
Then you two also make a survival or nature check.
Okay.
Mm. Yeah, you know what? It's. I'm going to use like the sorcery point for this.
Nice. Go for it. Single digits. Join me. No, he's not. He's saying fuck you single digits. Okay. So, Stefan, you managed to find yourself, surprisingly again, shocking nobody, you disappear for like an hour in the middle of the night while everybody's like packing up some bits and getting ready to rest down, and you find a massive fucking, I mean like a fat chunky boy of a boar. You wrestle it to the ground, manage to impale it with some spikes in points that are enough to knock it down, but not kill it outright. You manage to cook it, and it is equivalent to 10 days of rations, and you can spend that however you want. First question, did you have enough rations for the 4 days?
No, I only had 1, so I would be missing 3 days.
Okay. So you will have 7 days of rations extra. You can do with that however you want. Decide afterward if you're giving it to someone, just so I can give them their spiel and whatever. Varnix, you manage to find yourself a small herd of deer and what looks to be like one like tall standing like majestic stag, and if it wasn't for the fact a triceratops comes stomping by nearby and causing these minor tremors that spook them, you'd have easily caught 2 more. You see as they begin to like run from this vibration, you just manage to like run fast enough, bound and drop yourself onto one of the deer, catch it, and however humane or non-humane way you end its life, you can feast on that poor boy.
Inhumane, I hungrily devour it.
So
I've had a very difficult day.
So you will, from it, have 4 days worth of rations, which I believe, unless you already have rations, is enough to sustain you the 4 days.
Alright, so I'll stick with the 3 rations. Alright.
Okay. Let me go back down the list. Carrick. Also, because they were hunting individually and kind of sustaining themselves across the days, you two, as you two are hunting, you kind of hunt together at first. In the case of you, Mosey, using the natural affinity that you have with magic and managing to inspire yourself into understanding the terrain around you, the pair of you managed to come across a series of what look to be these shelled creatures. It kind of at first reminds you of a crab because they have these multiple legs, but no pincers. They're kind of very furred underneath, and the head is like very tiny, and it gives you this weird like amorphous like crab turtle creature vibe with like lots of hair. And at first, as you're looking at it, you kind of just look at each other like, do we really want to? And then you see as a larger figure that looks kind of like a wyvern is flying above, and is like circling the area. You guys kind of stay waiting for a moment, and as the wyvern finishes its flight, it descends very rapidly, peels one of these creatures' shells off of their backs, and you just hear these wild sounds that sound kind of pathetic and quiet, like just very soft yelps almost as it's peeled off of its back. It doesn't seem like it was actually attached, but it's stuck to the fur, and a lot of the fur was like pulled off. As the shell is pulled off and the creature just starts to go to town on the thing, tearing into its back, you smell this very aromatic scent come wafting off of the creature as it's being torn apart. And the weird wyvern-like creature, as it is tearing into it, you see as it stops at one point, and it inhales a small breath and scorches the back of the creature with a flicker of fire that comes from its mouth. And then this once raw meat that becomes scorched smells like it's burnt, and it kind of removes a lot of the aromatic smell that comes from it. But at the same time, you do kind of get this watering mouth sensation. Having that hunt kind of stifled, you wander along for a little bit together. You find another one of these creatures not being hunted. The pair of you manage to very easily subdue it, to be honest. It takes barely even a smack to the head and the creature's unconscious or dead, depending on how heavy you want to hit it. You bring it back with you. It will take the pair of you to carry, even with Carrick's general strength being as absurd as it is. It is considered a large creature, but only in frame more so than height. It's very wide. Between you, you can share out a total of 15 days worth of rations. So, with the rations I have given each of you, please feel free to share or devour as you please. Connor and Mosey, of course, decide between you who gets what.
How many?
15 days between you.
15 days, right?
15 days. So I'll take the one more. So that's 6 and 7. So I'll take 6.
6 and 7. Don't you mean 7 and 8?
Fuck. Yeah.
I wasn't going to say anything.
It's late.
It's okay, Mozzie, I forgive you. I'm terrible at maths, but I forgive you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So subtract from those totals however many days you can't meet.
How many days you what now?
So if you didn't have any rations before the 4 days started, until you got the turtle thing, you would lose 4 on your total. If you had 1 day, you would lose 3, etc., etc. So how many did you have, Mosey? How many rations did you have before
I
this?
had 1.
Then you would... Oh, suddenly my brain exploded. How many days did you decide to get from the turtle?
7.
You wanted 8.
Yeah.
Just remember 15. I take 7, you take 8.
No, the other one.
Okay.
So either way, subtract 4 from your total rations, the pair of you, if you haven't already.
Yeah, already done that. So
No, I did before. That's why I had 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are good then. These will be additions onto your person. Don't know why that went to GM. Okay. So you guys actually eat pretty well for the next couple of days, and with full stomachs. It probably won't come to the point, but in each of you guys' temporary HP slots, each of you roll a hit dice and add whatever the result is to your temporary HP. It will only last for 24 hours, but in the event you do encounter a combat, you will have them.
make the hit die and whatever we get is temporary HP. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
It is including your modifier, Stefan.
Ah, shit.
It's just your Constitution modifier, so.
Thank God.
But yeah, add that to you guys' temporary HPs. Add one for brick as well, because oh damn. Yeah. As you all eat like kings for a couple of days, enjoying each other's companies in the wilderness, you of course see the forward base in the distance. Knowing to some degree a way to get to it without dropping down a giant hole in the earth, I will assume you guys take the more simple route. And eventually you would make your way down towards the camp. I'm going to end it here because I've got some shit to do. It's getting late for Mosey, and
Yeah,
it's a good point to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Okay then. It was fun.
Adventure, yay!
Mm-hmm.
Gonna become an animal wrestler.
It's your true pastime. That's what you were made for.
That's what you were born for.
Follow my side adventures where I track and kill wild animals.
Those bits.
Bear the disser.
Like the evil Steve Irwin.
The disser.
But this
How often you manage to get high rolls with those checks is just... I mean, this is pretty fucking nuts.
I need them. I got beat up by a giant squid.
Let's hope next
Yeah.
week I can break the dice curse.
We'll see.
Hope, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Break thine chains.
Oh yeah, Lee.
Yeah.
Important bit of information for you, which will be somewhat semi-exciting.
Yeah.
I'm map making again.
Nice. You got any specific plots in mind?
I'm currently making a general city-based place.
Hmm.
I can give you a sneak preview if you'd like.
Sure.
Yeah, fuck it, I'll give everyone a sneak preview.